What happens when people don't behave? This is a micro lesson for health economics and policy for Jefferson College of Health Sciences. As economists, we make assumptions that all things, in fact, my professor when I was undergraduate used to say, all things being equal. Every time he drew a graph, every time he did something on the board, all things being equal. Meaning basically, we're going to make this huge assumption and we're just going to hope that there's nothing out there that's going to be, in the environment that's going to make it wrong. Well, in reality, we know that people behave strangely sometimes, right? I mean, that could have been a different title for the lecture. We know that people, and this is referring to chapter 18 of your book, people sometimes may say one thing and do another. And sometimes the economists call it inconsistent preferences. Anybody here who's ever had a gym membership has gone and bought a gym membership and said, I'm going to go exercise. And then what happens? January, February, we're going 3 times a week. By March, I better go once a week so I get my money's worth. And by April, the weather's nice and we're outside. So nothing against gym memberships, but those are called inconsistent preferences. We have spent our money one way, but we're not really behaving the way to back it up. We have risk preferences, seatbelts, smoking, and I think what's a bigger one, for me at least, and for many Americans, eating now. We want to be healthy. We're in the healthcare industry, but yet, sometimes I'm just going down the street. Maybe I won't wear my seatbelt today. Or, I like to smoke on Friday nights. It kind of helps me relax or whatever. These are just examples. Then we have something called inconsistent beliefs or incorrect beliefs. People who think that the book talks about Lake Wobegon, everybody's greater than average, right? People always think they can beat the stock market. People call the stock market a zero-sum game because in order for you to beat the stock market, that means there's someone out there, your neighbor, your relative, maybe someone you don't even know who's losing at the stock market. So we sometimes have incorrect beliefs. We think we're going to be better, and maybe we're not better, or maybe we think we're going to be worse and we do better. It can go both ways. Representation bias. Sometimes people believe that things are out there. They see patterns that don't exist, and they may be very rational patterns. You may go to the grocery store and see a long line at your grocery store and then go home and decide you want to buy stock in that grocery store. That's not irrational, but that pattern may not be true throughout the United States. You may have been there on a really busy day. It may have been Super Bowl, the night before the Super Bowl or something, or there could have been a festival in town for music and everyone was in line for that. And it has nothing to do with the growing demand for the grocery store. And then we have framing bias. This is where people see, people are using the same data, but they see different things, okay? We see this a lot in political polling. We see this, again, with stocks. And, all of these examples that I'm giving you, that the book's giving you, there's nothing right or wrong about them. It's just human nature. Sometimes we behave, or we create these constructs, and they may or may not be true. Economists talk about loss aversion. Sometimes people they're so obsessed with not losing something that they don't focus on the potential gain, right? So, in conclusion, yeah, we know people behave strangely sometimes. I mean, I think we all know that on some level, but, there's various degrees of that. And as economists, we try to make general assumptions, and everything we've talked about throughout this entire course, we try to make a general assumption just so we can get past go, right? We want to study things. We know it's an imperfect science. It's an art. And we know that sometimes people's behavior is going to undermine this. And I guess the silver lining in all this is if there is enough behavior that undermines what it is that we believe, that behavior will eventually express itself as data. And then we can make better decisions in the future. So this is the micro lesson. What happens when people don't behave?